What's with airplane food?
So, I will openly admit, I am looking forward to whenever society completely breaks down and the enhanced games gets its feet in, where it's like, yeah, we're not going to bother drug testing. And then a bunch of idiots are going to go and take part in the enhanced games.
A bunch
and
of
just
cyborgs there.
They're going to explode from all of the drugs that are in them.
Yeah.
It's going to be that Animatrix one where
yes,
he literally
exactly.
just keeps on running until he's destroyed.
Right. Till he runs through the Matrix. And you're like, damn, wow, the Matrix is real. Crazy.
Or, that part of the Alien novel where the sprinter takes the alien drugs and then sprints through a fence.
That'll do it. Hello, Internet.
The royal jelly.
Yep. Yeah, Boston, we're talking about jelly in this shit.
Oh, yeah.
PB and royal jelly, baby, yeah.
That's right. All right, you guys ready to get started?
Can that be an episode title?
Probably not.
Louise, why?
Chaos.
Why did you decide right now that it's time to get up?
Well, you looked like you were going to get into something busy, so... Hello. Oh, grumpy. Love it.
She's always fucking grumpy faced.
Yeah.
The worst part is she's actually purring as I'm picking her up.
Naturally.
Look, if you're going to come up here. Don't just dig your claws into my legs. I'm wearing shorts.
That's right. Dig your claws into my chest. Thank you.
Well, my neck can take it. My legs are brittle and broken.
That's fair. All right, guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Boston, and joining me as always is Moonpear.
Episode?
Yep.
What was that?
I'm doing great. Well rested, feeling hale and hearty.
You've already had me mess things up like 7 times today. So.
Yep. We're all firing on all cylinders over here, including the Nymph.
Hello.
Quick plug here for patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones are numbers.
$5 a month is the recommended tier. That gets you everything. It gets you early access, exclusive, uncensored, all the cool secret stuff over there. You get the uncensored Outcast. It's exclusive over there. That's where we're talking about all the stuff that isn't video games. We did talk a little bit about video games this week. So if you want to hear the newest news about The Crew, for real, we talked about that over there. Along with, other topical things like the Olympics. So you want to hear our thoughts about the Olympics, go over there. You also get early access to We Rogue Like It and Critical Misses. Exclusive. I'm gonna be able to talk here once today. I promise. You get exclusive access to the Critical Misses production meeting. You see how kind of all the shows are planned, and we figure out what we're going to do for those seasons, and then eventually make about 3 turns and then get to the actual season. And you get exclusive access to the Wayward Sons, which is the supernatural TV show watchcast that Moon and Nymph are going through. All of that and more. Patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones are numbers.
Moon, what have you been playing this past week?
Apparently I'm now playing My Cat Wants to Get Down.
Yep.
Having only just got up.
Hate to tell you what's going to happen in about 10 seconds. Just going to want to get back up.
I know. I have been a cat owner for a while now, unfortunately. Hey, by the way, fun fact, on the NBC Olympics video, they do show the medal races with a little medal symbol.
Oh.
Useful information to know.
That's fun.
Speaking of medals, I got myself a lot of medals by being the best assassin around in Hitman 1 in 2.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
There is no way for me to get the Legacy Game of the Year Hitman 1 content in Hitman 2 at all. I have installed and reinstalled and deleted and gone through the store and everything else several times.
All the permutations, all the purchases, not happening.
Yes, exactly. So that's fine. I still have all the old maps because I bought them all separately. I just don't have the DLC missions. So Patient Zero, I think is what it was called. I don't have that in Hitman 2. That's fine. Whatever. I don't care. That's fine. I finished up with Bangkok, so I did the Club 27 mission. I completely forgot that the Club 27 mission was about being a hitman to a rock star, and he's the age of 27. That's why it's called Club 27.
Gotcha.
I already did the Colorado missions, so I don't have to do anything with Colorado anymore, which I'm happy about.
Nice.
I'm now on Hokkaido, the final mainline mission from Hitman 1.
Okay. You're making
so
it.
close to actually being able to start Hitman 2 in Hitman 2.
Now, being done with the mainline stuff, are you not getting all of the achievements in Hitman 1, or are you getting them?
Come on. You know me.
Yeah. I
Double
just don't know
checking.
if you're trying to burn through it now to make it easier later or something.
So the achievements in Hitman 1 specifically were actually pretty easy. No, not easy. Pretty simple. Which is you beat the story. You beat the story you beat the mission. You beat the mission by using specific ways of killing people. So it'd be like, oh, for this one, you need to kill this guy while he's looking down a telescope, but also you need to shoot down his plane with a cannon. And you need to kill this other person by using the disease or the virus that they have against them. So that's the 3 assassinations you need to make for like second achievement in it. Your third achievement in each level was to complete an escalation up to level 5. That is the mission type in the game where it's like, oh, here is a mission, you got to kill this butler. That's it. And then you do that, and then you go back into it, and it's like, okay, now you've got to kill this butler while wearing this disguise. Great. And then you go do that. Now you've got to kill this butler wearing this disguise and using this weapon.
Okay.
And then you do that, and then it's like, now you got to kill this butler in this disguise with this weapon, and people can see through your disguise easier. And so that's the escalations. It goes from 1 to 5, so you just have to do one of them in order to get the achievement related to that. The other one is usually complete all of the mission stories. So it's like, here is the 9 different ways you can gain access to these people to kill them. So dress as a psychiatrist, prepare a birthday cake, be a sound engineer, be in Club 27, be the session drummer for the band for a second. That's all quote unquote mission stories. So you've got to do all of those. And there's usually one which is do something goofy.
Okay.
In the Bangkok level, it's destroy 20 golden elephants, which are in the penthouse suite.
Okay.
In the Colorado level, it's get everyone to do a hoedown, or get 3 characters to do a hoedown, and 3 people start square dancing if you time it right.
That's great.
The Sapiens level is when you dismiss everybody and then turn the school PA system on and the radio. Everyone in that area starts dancing, and then one of your targets comes in and starts dancing too in a very particularly weird way.
Interesting.
So usually that's the 5 achievements related. Oh, and the final one is get mastery of the level up to level 20. So you have to, as you do unique things in each mission, you increase your mastery, which unlocks new equipment, but new starting points, new hidden places, stuff like that. So you get that to level 20. That's usually the final achievement that you do. So that's what each of them are for each of the missions. So when I say I've completed Bangkok and Colorado, the first 5 missions in Hitman 1 or whatever it is, I now have those 5 achievements or equivalent in Hitman 1 and Hitman 2. So now I'm starting Hokkaido, so I will now focus on those 5 or 6 achievements in that map, and then once I've done that, I will shift over to the DLC missions for Hitman 1 before I start doing Hitman 2.
Right.
Because I do have a couple of the DLC missions. And then when I start playing Hitman 2, that's when I'm going to radio a Mackie and say, like, hey, I don't know anything about these sniper levels. When do you got time when we can sit down and just plow through these sniper levels, please? Because I don't know a thing about them.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to those. But yeah, I don't know if it's just because of the distance between I've played Hitman 1 and Hitman 2, but I'm finding it much more mechanically enjoyable now to go in and just like push the limits a little bit. It's like, oh, this person can see through my disguise, but I'm pretty sure if I run fast enough, I can get right around the outskirts of them without them actually breaking cover.
Yeah.
And even then, the game is much more forgiving than I thought originally, because they'll be suspicious and they'll walk after you for a little bit. But you can just keep running, and then they'll give up after a while, and then they'll go back to what they were doing, and then you're fine to continue doing what you were doing. I didn't know that originally, so I'm learning more and more about the game the more I play it. Obviously, this is the second or third time I've done the entire Hitman 1 series, so of course. But I don't know. It's just the right kind of mechanical thing I need right now to not really think about it too much. And then, other than the Game Club and the We Roguelike episodes, the only other thing I've played is Aliens Dark Descent.
Okay.
This is the squad-based RTS game that I talked about previously.
Right.
So is this your nighttime game now?
Well, no, because I don't even have that much time of a night, to be honest. The problem I want is I want to sit down and do a mission. And there's like, I think 13 missions in the game. I just want to sit down and just do one mission. But if I'm doing that, it's 90 minutes to 2 hours. And I don't have 90 minutes to 2 hours.
Yeah.
And there is no manual save. You can only save when you are in rest spots or when you hit certain mission parameters.
Right.
So I'm going in and I'm trying to chipper away at it a little bit now, because I've still got the text message from Mackie in my head that's like, yo, Mission 8 is where this game is at. Mission 8 is the stuff. So you might want to, get to Mission 8 and see how it goes. I'm on like Mission 4. Like, I'm nowhere even close to Mission 8. So I realized the only way, and I want to finish it because undoubtedly this thing is going to be in my conversation come the end of the year. As long as I feel comfortable having put enough time into it to where it goes on that list.
Right. And
so right now I'm in a mission, and boy, did things go south. Very, very quick. I made it to a basement, and then when I made it to a basement, stop me if you've heard this before, a different type of Xeno showed up.
Oh, whoa,
Nice.
Whoa.
And then all of my team are struggling with sanity and health and other problems. So just before we started recording, I was like, I can't do this. I can't do the mission I'm in with the team I have. So I need to take them out of the mission and get a fresh squad in here, and hopefully they can deal with the problems. Because it does that wonderful thing of like, here is the mission map. You take chunks out of it as you go.
Yeah.
But you can just leave and then come back with a different squad and basically pick up exactly where you left off. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to have to take this squad out and bring a different squad in. But the problem is every squad I have is hurt except for 4 people. In those 4 people, 2 of them are recruits, which means they are useless.
Oh, sure.
They don't have any specialty. They don't have any skills. They don't have anything useful in the slightest. So I kind of have to do... I have to triage my squads the best I can with the doctors I have at hand. I'm hoping, now that I have the 4 Marines with 2 recruits included, that I can deploy them, finish off this mission, and be done with this map, because this game is so tense.
Yeah.
Like, I think that I barely played it. I put like 2 hours into it. But from what I understand, Alien Isolation is the perfect example of the vibe of Alien. While I'm playing this is giving me the perfect vibe of Aliens, where it's like, yeah,
gotcha.
I'm 4 dudes running around this place that I am vastly outnumbered, and they are fast and scary, and then when stuff starts going downhill, it goes downhill in really rapid succession, and that snowball goes from like an inch big to 12 feet big in like 3 rotations. Like, it's ridiculous how quick things can go south. But I kind of like that because, hey, that's Aliens.
That's
what
thing.
happens.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the movie, but when one went, everybody went.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's kind of how it goes. And I really like that aspect of it. I love the way it looks. I like the way it plays. Like, the sound effects are incredible. So I want to play more of it, but I have to resign myself to the fact that I'm not going to be able to just sit down and do one mission and in a sitting.
Right.
I have to be comfortable going in, getting to a rest point, making a rest point, saving it, and then leaving it and coming back a different day. Like, that's kind of how I have to do it, because I just don't have the time to sit there and do like a 6-hour mission all in one sitting anymore.
Right.
I just don't. Not at the moment. Come see me in February.
Right.
Go listen to the outcast. But yeah, it's fun. It's ridiculous. I cannot recommend it enough to everybody else. If you're interested in aliens, you should definitely give it a shot. Slightly clunky in places, but also even at full price, I think it's $40. So
I think so, yeah.
Give it a shot. See how it goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I've been playing.
All right,
Cool.
Neil,
Yep.
what you got?
All right. Real quick, Trails of Daybreak.
Mm-hmm.
I am about a third of the way through chapter 4 right now. And that's where I had to stop playing that because just time. But the other game that I'm really going to talk about this week is DeadCraft.
DeadCraft. Okay.
Yes. This is a game I know it's on PlayStation, I think it's on Xbox, and I know it's on Steam. Regularly hits sales. I think it's a $30 or $40 game, but it regularly, the deluxe edition goes down to like $7. And this week it's on sale for like $7.49 or $7.99, something like that. I was like, all right, gonna pick this up.
Yep.
Because I need, as much as I love Legends of Hero games, like, I feel like I'm reading a light novel right now, and it's like I am tired, and I can't focus to read right now.
Right.
So, DeadCraft is a top-down crafting kind of survival-ish game. And it's also cel-shaded in a weird way. The story behind this game is that Earth gets hit with meteorites, and people are surviving that post-apocalyptic nightmare. But to add fuel to that fire, those meteorites also happen to contain the zombie virus.
Oh.
So now they're contending with 2 apocalyptic events.
Fun.
So, I'm not going to get too much into the story because it's kind of light on that, but you eventually find out that your main character is half human, half zombie. And there's explanations for why that happens, but you can basically tell because his left arm is red and looks like a muscly, like there's no skin on there, and part of his face is kind of the same way. But he doesn't feel the urge to eat humans or anything. You know, he still lives a normal life, but because he's part zombie, he hunts zombies because he doesn't have to worry about being infected. Story kicks off where you were abducted to be experimented on. You break out. Where you happen to break out and land is where you just decide that this is your home now, so that way you can break back into the lab that you broke out of to kill everybody that was in there. That's basically the story up to this point.
Okay.
It's a sweet, sweet revenge story. On top of all of that, though, what is happening is you've got a hunger bar, or like a hunger meter and a thirst meter that you have to keep eating. That's the whole survival aspect with this. You can make food. You can basically, when you're starting out, it's like you find like these decayed like rat carcasses that you can grab rat meat from and then cook them, and then you can eat it. It's not great, but it heals you and it fills you, it fills your hunger. But it also plays into this other system that it has, which is this human zombie system. Because it's rotted, decaying meat, every time you eat it, you're taking a hit on your health. Your hunger meter is filling, but you're also now adding points to your zombie meter.
Oh, okay.
This meter is up and is in the top left corner, and it's basically just a face. The more human you are, the more human it looks, and the more defense you have.
Oh,
but you don't have any zombie powers. The less human it looks, the more zombie it looks, the more zombie powers you have, but the less defense you have.
Gotcha.
And the zombie powers up to this point for me so far is that if you hold down like L1 and hit square, there's like this smash thing that it does where it's like the left arm turns into this giant whip and everything in front of your character gets hit. There's another one where it's like it turns into a shield and you can bash forward with it. And there's a new one that I just learned where if you're fighting human enemies, if you get their health low enough, your left arm can consume them and you'll get health back from them.
Ah, okay. Interesting.
So the combat in this game is fine. When it's just you and a bunch of zombies, there can be tons of zombies on the screen, but they're slow and they're easy to run past if you don't want to fight, or it's easy to kind of wrap around and then start attacking them and then just kind of disengage, run around and attack them from the back again. Where it starts to become an issue is like with the first boss fight that I had to do, where you've got multiple heavy units where it's like they have these axes where they have these big like arcs that they can swing and hit in like 360. And then you've got like these shield heavies that'll charge you and charge through everything. And then you also have humans with guns. So they'll shoot you and it kind of stops you for a second. Meanwhile, you're getting hit by everything else around there. In the first boss fight, there's like tons of ads that you're trying to take on while trying to fight this boss with the flamethrower. And there are things that I'll get into that can make it easier, but the game's not great with trying to manage that much stuff at once. But while you're trying to do all this running around and story related stuff, anytime you do anything in this game, you get like SP. And everything, all the systems are tied to skill trees. So you pick up something from the ground, you get like 10 SP. You kill a thing, you get 20 SP. You complete a mission, a side mission, story mission, you get a certain amount of SP and all of that as well. Anything you do besides crafting and farming, when you're doing certain things with farming, you don't get SP. But it's like one or two things. When you look at your trees, there's like a whole bunch of them, but there's like your basic like survival weapons, all this fun stuff. Once you start getting into more of your survival tree, a lot of the stuff that you have issues with in the beginning, with like your hunger meter running super fast, your thirst meter running super fast, you start to unlock skills that slow that down a lot more, so that way it becomes a lot more manageable, so you're not kind of freaking out. Because at the start of this game, it is very difficult, and you're not really meant to just go out and take on the wasteland here.
Right.
You're just meant to do like small little trips, run back, cash in, and then continue on with your next day. But as you continue to go on and getting all these SPs and filling out your skill tree, you start to get, I won't say more powerful, but you become more stable, and you don't have to come back to your base as much, which is very great, because in the beginning it's also hard to find healing items. The only way to actually really heal at the start is you go back to your house and then you go to sleep, and that starts the day cycle, because there's a day and night cycle for this game. So you can sleep through it, brings you back up to a certain amount of health, which is kind of interesting because that's tied to your health and thirst meter as well. If you have your health and thirst meter fully charged, you go to sleep, it'll show you how much health additionally you'll get and how much energy you'll additionally get.
Okay.
Or if you have nothing and you go to bed with like barely anything, you're going to have like the tiniest bars for your health and energy. So going to sleep, it'll refill your health, it'll refill your energy, and that's like the best way to do it in the beginning. But now I'm at the point where it's like I can cook stuff and make all this other stuff that it's like, there are times where like I've gone all day and all night in the game, and it's like, all right, I'm just going to sleep to reset my energy. And it's like, it's not even a hassle for me anymore.
Nice.
So let's see. With the day-night cycle, there's not really anything a whole lot interesting for that. Zombie enemies just get harder at nighttime. Their eyes turn red. There's some submissions that you get that only show up at nighttime as opposed to daytime, but there's no... It's kind of doesn't need to be in the game, kind of. Like, it's just a weird
not
thing.
that major.
Yeah.
Does it do the Dying Light conundrum where you get more for doing stuff at night or not?
The enemies are harder to take down, but you only get like 10 more. Like, as like killing zombies in the day, you get like 20 SP. At night, you get 30.
Okay, so it's not like you get 60 at night.
Yeah, it's
so
not
it's
a
more
huge
worth it.
difference.
It's not the double from Dying Light.
Yeah,
Right.
no. And it doesn't seem to impact anything else with like crafting or farming or anything else like that. So it's just a thing that's in there just to have it in there.
Right.
When it comes to the crafting and the farming, it's your basic thing where it's like, oh, you start out and you have like an axe, and then you put enough skills into your skill tree and you can eventually craft like a zombie knife, which is literally a zombie that you put on a stick and you just hit things with it.
Okay.
There's also, I have like basically a machete now, which is an upgraded version of that knife that I'm using now, which is actually really good for me. But you're not doing like the difference between the axe that you start with and like this kind of chef knife that you make. The axe did like 10 points of damage, and the chef knife did like 12.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel that big of a difference damage-wise, but the difference really is that the chef knife is a lot faster than the axe. So you're getting in there a lot faster, so you're piling on the damage faster than you are with the axe, even though it's only an extra 2 points.
Right.
There's a whole bunch of other systems in here too that I'm not really using, because there's like this whole like you can basically rob from people. You can shake them down, walk up to anybody in a town, and you can hit like triangle, and they'll kick them down. You can threaten them, and then you can steal from them.
Oh, jeez.
I've done it a couple of times just to try it, but it's like no one really ever has anything on them that really makes it worth it, because there's also a GTA like wanted system where it's like you get a certain amount of stars and you tick off the wrong people, and all of a sudden you have everyone chasing after you, and it goes away after a while. But it's another one of those things where it's like, okay, so I just threatened this person. I stole like a rock and some money from them, but I could have gotten more if I just went out into the wasteland and scavenged, some stuff. So it's not really worth it. The farming aspect, which is how you're really going to make money, you can farm vegetables and you can farm zombies.
That's what I remember this game from.
This is why I've been watching this game forever. Yes.
Right. Because I remember when it came out, people were like, it's a zombie farming game. And by that I mean, you farm zombies. And I was like, yeah, wait, sorry?
Yep. So I've only just started unlocking stuff to be able to do this, because there's two different ways that you can craft and make stuff. There's the normal human crafting method, and then there's like a zombie version of that, which is usually more powerful or potent or whatever. So like the zombie knife that I was talking about, that's technically better than the chef knife that I made. So it does 20 points of damage compared to the other knife doing like 12, but it's also slower. So, you kind of go back to your whole DPS thing where it's like, well, technically the knife is faster, blah, 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 whatever. But because it does more damage, some people go with that. It also has a wider swing, so that was kind of helpful too. But so with the farming thing, starting out, you can only farm like tomatoes and pumpkins, but you have a choice for how you water them, and that determines how these grow.
Okay.
So you have sludge, which is like the first level of your water that you're going to find. You can drink it, it's going to do damage to your health, and it's going to add to your zombie meter. But like when you're first really starting out, like I was saying with like the decayed dead rat, yeah, it's not great, but that's what you have to add to these bars in these systems. So you just use it until you can get to something better. But a side effect of the sludge is that when you water plants with these, it makes them grow faster.
Okay.
So I always use sludge for that. Eventually you'll get to a point where you can craft like a purification station, and then you can purify sludge into regular water. I do not use regular water on the plants because it doesn't benefit them in any way. It doesn't make them grow faster, it doesn't give me more or anything. So I just use that for my character for their thirst meter.
Oh, okay.
There's a third thing that you can use, and it's called Ziv blood for zombie blood. And this is just, you kill zombies and it has a chance of dropping this container. It's like a jerry can of zombie blood.
Okay.
And you can choose to water your tomatoes with that, and then you'll start to make a zombie variant tomato. And they don't turn into zombies or anything, but they go from being a red tomato to like this purplish thing that kind of resembles a tomato.
Huh.
And you can make food with that. And it's all really weird because you can make like I don't know if you can do it with the zombie tomatoes, but like with the regular tomatoes, once you have that, you go to your cooking station, you can make roasted tomatoes on a stick, and that will increase your hunger bar, and it will increase. I think it also gives you like a little bit to your thirst bar too, or whatever. But like the zombie, I can't remember if there's a zombie version of that or not, but there's like a zombie thing that I made with tomatoes and pumpkins, where that one, it added to my zombie meter, it healed my health by like 30 points, and it filled my thirst and hunger gauges like almost all the way, just eating one of them. So there's some benefits and stuff that you can draw from, and really like the only downside to your zombie meter being all the way zombie is just you're taking more damage. Depending on what you're doing at that time, that may not matter at all.
Sure.
You may not need, the extra defense. So there's been a lot of fun messing with that. I'm at the point now where all of my stage 2 upgrades for like my crafting table, my fire pit, and my I think they call it like the junk shed, which is basically your storage unit for storing all of your crap. They've all been zombified now, because basically bringing them up to like a level 2, to put it in like very video gamey terms, you go from everything just looking like crap that's just been thrown together to like, oh, this fire pit has like gobs of flesh on the side of it, and that's what's holding the spick up in the middle, so that way you can roast your meat on, kind of thing. And the fire is blue now instead of red, because it's all zombified now, So, and then like the storage thing that I have, I just upgraded that, 'cause the first storage unit that you can build, it can only hold 65 slots for inventory, and you can't build more than one. You only have the one unit, and I was just getting to the point where it's like I'm starting to tap up against the cap for this. Just able to upgrade that to the zombie version of it, which now I have 250 spots for inventory. But like there's like this random bulbous bulb, it's like pulsating on the top. Like there's an arm sticking out of the building randomly. So, there's all kinds of weird stuff where it seems like just the zombification of your camp makes everything stronger and better.
That's interesting.
Which is really cool. But the whole thing... Oh, go ahead.
The question I have is... No, I have 2 questions here.
Okay.
My first question is this going to be a morality play at the end when you find out that you are the real monster because you made your camp out of people?
Right.
No, absolutely not.
And my second question is, I didn't know this was a licensed Warhammer 40k game.
So no, this has the feel of like how Borderlands felt, where it's like nothing is being taken seriously in this game. Like all of these characters could fit in like Borderlands 1, and besides him being a zombie, like it's the same kind of weird cast that you have. The nurse that I just met would sit there just fine with the doc from the first game. Like she's just as psychotic as he was, kind of thing. So, and she loves shotguns. But anyway, so growing with zombies. So once you get to a point and you invest enough in your skill tree, you can unlock a perk where when you kill humans, you can take their corpse now. And there's a chance of getting either a full corpse or bits and pieces of the body. And for crafting things, they can both do different things. And if you have enough parts of a body, you can make a corpse. And you can cut down a corpse into parts as well, depending on what you're trying to do. There are certain groups, like you don't want to go into the slums and start killing people, because then you're going to start getting the wanted level that I talked about earlier.
Right.
However, there are different gangs in this game that nobody likes, and nobody cares if you kill them all day long.
Oh, okay.
So those are the people that I always go for. And there's also a couple of people in the wasteland too, where it's like, as long as other people don't see you kill them, no one knows they're gone because they're out in the wasteland. Of course they ended up dead.
Okay.
They're in the wasteland. So,
Sure.
As long as someone doesn't see you do it, you're fine. So once you kill them, you can take their corpse, and then you basically have to craft, like, I forget specifically what they call it, but you're basically making like a zombie seed. So you take the corpse after you till the farmland and dumped the body onto that plot, and you bury it, and that's when you use the zombie blood to water all of them.
Okay.
And after a day, they start to turn into plants. They look like gourds with like ghost faces on them, and they're like this bluish, purplish, neon color.
Okay.
And as you can continue to water them, they start to get bigger and bigger until you can harvest them. And then when you harvest them, the zombies will pop out of the ground, and then they just turn into like these shrunken heads, which are zombie seeds.
Okay.
And now you can use these to make placeable zombie items. They don't follow you around, unfortunately, at least so far. I'm only 9 hours into this game. According to the PlayStation system, I'm like 49% through the story. But I'm still getting like new stuff introduced to me even now. So in the future, maybe I can make zombies that can follow me. But right now, what you end up doing is you create these placeable zombie objects. So the first one that you unlock is called the pea shooter. And when you equip it to place it, it'll show you, hey, if you put this pea shooter down here, here is its, cone of vision. Anything that walks in there that isn't friendly, it will shoot at.
No, just like Plants vs. Zombies. Got it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And there are
This is literally a zombie Plant versus Zombies, though, which is weird.
Mm-hmm. There are different versions of these that you can make. Like, I've unlocked a bazooka version of it. I haven't been able to make it yet, but there's that. There's a tombstone that I've unlocked that, according to the description, when you place it down, anyone who walks by it will be grabbed by zombie arms and dragged down.
That's fun.
I haven't been able to use it yet, so I don't know how, what the effective area is, how effective it actually is. There was another one that I just unlocked too that was called like Zombie Vacation.
Okay.
Based off of the description, I have no clue what happens when I put that down. So going back to the boss fight, how I was saying that was harder, just trying to fight the waves of enemies. You're supposed to go in there with one of these placeables like the pea shooter, so that way you can put them down. When you have them down, they attract the enemy's aggro, so everybody will come rushing them. The zombies will keep shooting, and you can attack them while their back is to you. The placements don't necessarily have a health bar, and they don't. There's like this weird counter that when you put them down, it says like 100 out of 100, but it's not like they have 100 rounds, and it's not like it's 100 health out of 100 health. So I'm not exactly sure what that counter is for yet, but they're pretty resilient. I've had one take on a whole group of thugs by itself. And it was still there, and I can't tell if this is a game issue or what, but at some points you can pick them back up, but at other times I haven't been able to pick them back up to like reuse them. So I'm not sure what's going on with that either. I don't know if it's an issue with the game, or I'm not staring at the right pixel on it to be able to pick it back up, or what. But that's one way to help alleviate the bigger boss fights. And they do get kind of crazier, it looks like, with the amount that you can carry, how many of them you can put down at one time, and what they all individually end up doing. So far, that's about all I've been able to do with the zombie farming portion of this. A lot of it is mostly just trying to keep your thirst and hunger gauge filled, and then just running around planting. So, like, I just got to a point where it expanded my campsite because I had to put down a machine so that I could start crafting advanced materials, like stuff that you can't find in the world, like plywood. You could find like wood, and you could find like bits of wood and stuff, but you couldn't find like plywood because you have to craft it. But I needed a specific station to be able to do that, and I just barely eked out enough room so that way I could set it down but it also didn't block my path to be able to get in and out of the camp.
Oh, sure.
I'm like, I have to be coming up on an expansion at some point because it wants me to build 2 more things, and I have no room for any of this crap.
Right.
And then sure enough, I did a couple more missions, and it's like, oh, hey, for this, after you do this, we'll expand your camp, and now I have a ton of room. So that has made it a lot more helpful for me.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think, outside of that, like it's all just like short runs, like, and they're not even really runs, but like I guess like running a day.
Yeah, like going exploring with the time you have.
Yeah, there's like I'll knock out a couple missions or a submission, and then I'll come back. I'll water all of my plants. I'll eat up to fill all my gauges. I go back to sleep, wake up, water all my plants, head out and build or do whatever it was that I needed to complete missions. Then I come back, and everything usually. You probably do like a bunch of stuff in like 10, 15 minutes before you're looking for like the next thing to continue on and doing. So it's a real easy, like, okay, I've got like 15 minutes. Let me knock out, 1 or 2 missions real quick.
Right.
And then I'm done. The only crap thing is that it does have save stations. Each of the there's 2 towns that I've unlocked so far. There's a save station next to your bed at your camp, and there's a save station in each of those towns. But there's no auto-saving or anything, so if you die, you're picking back up from whatever your last save was.
Okay, that's a little rough.
Which isn't horrific,
yeah.
But it's a good thing I found that out after I had saved, because I was like, this may be difficult, and then I died, and then it's just like, title screen or continue from last save. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people too have real issues with this game at the very beginning because it is like super difficult. You have to start finding your crafting flow to get you going.
Yeah.
And it's not meant for you to like run out and just start taking on zombies. Like, you are stupid weak in this. You just have to do the gradual build up, and eventually like I'm at the point now where it's like they just introduced a new set of zombies for me, and they're not difficult, they're just faster, but I can still just not fight them if I don't want to, but they're not difficult for me to take out, but I need them for the new materials that they drop, because I'm now in the new material mode of things that I need to build, so I need to start gathering new stuff, because all the 200 and some odd parts that I have for one item don't work anymore for the newer stage of weapons and stuff that I need to build. So I will also say too, I just discovered this today, and it's weird because it's not in the controls or anything. The first zombie knife that you can build, if you hit L2 on that thing, you will rip off a chunk of that zombie and throw it in front of you, and a live rat will come out and start eating it. And you can kill that for fresh rat meat and bake it, so that way you have a health item, or you can turn around and sell it for money.
Interesting.
I don't know why that wasn't brought up. Like, I mistakenly found that out when I put my controller down and it hit my leg harder on the L2.
Right.
And he just did that, and it took me a moment to figure out what happened. There's no weapon durability or anything, and that itself doesn't seem to do any, like, it doesn't feel like I'm going to lose the weapon or anything. And and I haven't... I was kind of testing around with it. I was able to do it up to 15 times in one sitting, and it didn't seem to have an adverse effect.
Interesting.
So I also don't know why that's not listed out in the game for like, hey, you need money, or you need a health item, or a hunger item or something. It's like, do this and it's free, whatever. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's just a lot of running around and screwing off, and I built a zombie for somebody who's really obsessed with zombies, and it tried to attack him, and he's kind of annoyed by it, so now he's trying to figure out how to control it. And yeah, it's been that kind of weird adventure in this game.
Right.
So, I also built a bunch of landmines for a orphanage, because the kids wanted to be able to sleep at night.
Rewind that a sec.
Yeah,
Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it sounds like too, because there's also like fences, like the landmines. Like you can build fairly early on. They are placeable, and there are things that you can use, that you can put down in a fight. there's also fences that you can build and you can place down. I haven't messed with any of that. I don't know if there's going to be a mission in the future that's going to require me to use them, but right now they just seem like odd things that I've just built because, hey, this side mission just, the kids needed landmines. Who am I to say no?
Right.
So,
new charity stream later this year, landmines for orphans. Let's go.
That's right.
Heck yeah. So yeah, it's been interesting. I just found out too that I can dash. Because that was a complaint that I was coming in here until I looked at the controls to figure out why I can pluck off zombie bits for rats. It's like, why wasn't that listed? But while I'm looking at the controls, it's like, hey, you can click L3 and he'll run.
That would have been nice to know 10 hours ago.
I don't know why I didn't try that, because in the entire time, like, he runs fine. Like, the game doesn't feel fast-paced at all. So the amount of movement I was getting with the guy, I'm like, okay, maybe this is just what they wanted him to have,
Right.
Because the areas aren't that big and because things aren't moving that fast. It's like, okay, this is just as fast as he runs. No, apparently he can run faster.
Okay.
And I just didn't know that.
Sheesh.
Whatever. But I also, too, to make things easier, I also just unlocked what they're calling ZPS, where you create a zombie arm, and when you throw it, zombies will come up from the ground and grab you, and you pick a location to fast travel to.
Dang. Handy.
So, I mean, like, running hasn't been an issue, really.
Right.
But now that I know about it, I'm like, well, okay, I guess I'll start dashing now and see how that works. So, there's a lot of... I went into this game really blind, so there's a lot of stuff that I'm just sitting here figuring out, and I'm like, wish I would have known that 8 hours ago when I was screwing around with things, or I develop a new thing. I'm like, oh, this is really handy. And that is kind of what most of the skill tree is a lot of it is just adding quality of life stuff to it. That way you can be out longer and you can start to hit harder, but none of it's like, oh, hey, you now do 3% damage kind of thing.
Right.
It's mostly just the survival aspect, you being able to build, different stations for you to make different materials, so that way you can make different foods or weapons or zombies or whatever. So it's been interesting. I've definitely shut my brain off and been like, I just got one more day. Let me see how these vegetables grow in. I'm just like, okay, they've grown. I've harvested them. I have a skill that I can harvest, or I can till the land like all at once and all this crap. So I'm like, all right, let me quickly till more stuff and put stuff down. And the next thing you know, I'm 3 days later in the game. I'm like, I needed to go use the bathroom a while ago. And I'm still here. Right. So it's just been a great shut your brain off kind of game. So if you're interested in DeadCraft, like I said, it's I'll just say it's like $8 right now on sale. And that gets you, there's 2 post-game DLCs that comes with. If you don't care about that or don't want them, the regular game usually goes on sale for like $5.
Oh, that's not so bad.
Yeah. So check it out, DeadCraft. It's
nice.
A fun apocalyptic farming game.
Right. Is that all you had?
Yes, that is all I have played this week.
All right. I have 4 very short games here. First up is a status check on Pacific Drive. Talked about it last week, 2 weeks ago, about the patch that came out. I have finally had time to sit down and do a run. I just did a short 1 junction run of this to try and get out into the world itself and get out of the your kind of hub garage area and see how the performance did. I did notice when I was in the settings that some of the settings changed, like back to the original values. I don't know if that was the patch or if I had changed that on the PC version but never changed on the PS5. I'm not sure. But when I was in there, I noticed that I still had the game capped to 30 frames on the PS5 version. Uncapped that to unlimited, runs flawlessly at 60 frames. And I was like, that seems like a really great sign. Let's head out into the peninsula here and let's do our thing. Did 1 full 1 junction run, looting a bunch of stuff, escaping from the whatever those little things are that grab the car and drive it away.
Abductors?
Yeah, abductors. I ran into a pretty good amount of stuff, and even To be fair, the outside rim isn't really the most taxing graphically. When you start getting deeper in, that's where you get more intense stuff. But even the outside rim, when you open up one of the gateways, that's usually pretty graphically intensive. That didn't even really drop the frame rate. So whatever they did, 2 huge thumbs up. It's such a significantly different experience than the game was at launch, which honestly has been my only real complaint about this game for the launch was the performance. The rest of it I love. I haven't been playing it at all lately because I can't really afford to do longer runs at the moment, and I'm building the limb whatever to get to the next story thing, and I just have to do a bunch of runs to farm materials. So it's gonna be one of those where it's I'm gonna scour the entire area, each junction. That's just gonna take a lot of time. So
I just have to get past what is the massive anomaly that the crabby or whatever they call it. The big
what is that? I don't remember what they call that, but
either way, all I have to do is just junction from that area to another area. That's the mission I'm on right now.
Oh, sure.
But I keep grabbing so much crap that I'm like, nah, I have to go back. I have to drop all
I can't lose
stuff.
all these materials. So I'm really looking forward to hopping back in this. My hope is that with the frame rate changes and stuff, that a lot of the dizziness and nausea I was getting with the frame rate stuff goes away. If it doesn't, then it'll just be something about this game that doesn't agree with me. That'll be fine. It's still a 10 out of 10 game. It just happens to make me sick, which is a real bummer, but that's how it goes.
Yeah. Don't forget to adjust your brightness settings too.
I did. I went in there to check those because I'm like, all right, if all my settings got changed, I want to make sure that the ones that I really like. All right, tangent. I really like in this game, and a big part of why I like this game is I like going back to the garage and taking care of the car. And I like, taking care of all the parts and putting new tires on and refurbing the old ones and crafting and all this stuff. This is the type of crafting game I like, where I'm taking care of this one thing. It's basically you're taking care of you, but
you are so particular.
I know, but
I don't understand you sometimes.
Unlike what I love in JRPGs, which is I get to build a town. Heck yeah, game of the year. I don't really want to take care of crafting enough stuff to craft a town or take care of a bunch of buildings or stuff. This is more my speed. I don't really like going back to the garage and refueling the car and charging the battery and making sure so I changed. That's one of the first settings I changed was when you go back, your fuel is full, the battery is full, and something else is full too. They're basically the three. Oh, your health. All those stats are full. So when I saw that a bunch of settings were changed, I went in there and be all right, I got to make sure this is on. And then I made sure that, brighter and shorter nights are on and things like that. So, yeah.
Making the adjustment for not for nighttime, for the darkness in general. Because
it's very dark.
When you and everyone else that I was reading online, and when you both had said, it's there are specific zones where it's pitch black no matter what you do. And I'm it's already pitch black. How does it get any more pitch black? The only time I could find what items and stuff was because I turned on that highlight option for things that you could scavenge.
That's a necessity, yeah.
But man, once I could adjust the brightness on this game, I didn't bump it up so it was daylight at nighttime, but I bumped it up so I could see 20 feet in front of my car with headlights on, kind of thing,
Yeah. Pacific Drive's great.
Yeah.
I hope now that the frame rate stuff is largely addressed and they say they're going to keep revisiting it, I really hope that this kind of gets a second look at from a bunch of people, because I know a lot of people like me had an issue with the really choppy kind of sub 30 frame rate. So go check out Pacific Drive. It's cool. I wish there was still a demo out, because I think that would sell a lot of people. But I don't think there's a demo out anymore. So.
if you're not sold by that, be sold by our Game Club episode. You can go listen to that over at tvgp.tv.
That's right, and we don't really spoil anything because there's not a lot of story in this to spoil. So yeah,
there's enough story to give you a reason to go from point A to point B, and that's about it.
Yeah, that's true. Next game here, No Man's Sky. The big patch, something worlds.
I don't like survival games,
1.
He says. Then plays.
Yeah, and then
I
turn off all that stuff. Yeah. It's whatever, like New Worlds Part 1 or whatever was the new name of the new patch.
Welcome back 3.5.
Yeah. I hadn't checked that out yet because I was waiting for the new expedition to start. I went and I checked my my home planet and said, yep, that still looks exactly the same. So I was pretty happy. If anyone didn't see that, it's another giant No Man's Sky patch, which is like, hey, we've redone everything in this game. This time they redid the world generation algorithm. A lot of worlds look totally different. They're floating islands and stuff. One of those planets is where this expedition starts. It's kind of that part of the game has needed a pass for a really long time. And I'm happy they finally did it because it's not like the game was bad, but I like the exploration side, and it's sort of like, well, here's the same 5 or 10 planet types, okie dokie.
So you're saying my base is probably buried again?
Probably, because mine was okay, and you have the bad luck with this game.
Yeah.
So
the full-on beta tester over here for this game.
I'm gonna go check your base out. Yeah. But I did start the new Expedition 14, which is Liquidators. It's literally just Starship Troopers. It's that.
Okay.
You were going out and you were hunting bugs for the company. You were doing your part. You would like to know more, which is all referenced in the game nearly immediately. I am not going to finish this expedition because the combat is not really what I'm in for in this game, and this is a combat expedition, which is fine because I think a lot of it is cool. I'll put up on video here. There's actually a hugely giant bug that you fight as well, which is much bigger than anything else I've seen in this game. And it from the descriptions of a lot of the expedition portions, it looks like you're going to be doing a lot of these things of just like, all right, you got to clear out another giant bug from another planet, so get down there and shoot it in its face. So, again, I think that's cool because I like, the last expedition was, hey, what if you're the only person in the entire universe? Like, that's cool too, and I like that they're taking so many different approaches to this game other than, you got to discover 15 planets again. Whoa, you did another star jump. Like, they're really trying to do a bunch of different stuff, which I really appreciate. But this isn't the part of the game that I really like. I should have played that last one. I just didn't have time. But I was happy to see that the planet generation stuff from the new patch looks really cool. And I finally figured out what is going on in the space stations, which is way better laid out than it had been before. It's way easier to kind of make out what you're supposed to do, which I appreciate. And then I tried to go through and craft my own ship with my kind of primary save, because I was like, oh yeah, you can craft your own ship. Yeah, let's try that. I don't have any of the materials to craft the stuff because you unlock it by spending nanites in the Nexus. And I was
you
like,
do the blueprints and stuff.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, that's like 5 levels deeper than I want to go right now. I'll do that someday, but I have that golden version of the ship from the cover of the original No Man's Sky. I'm not giving that up anytime soon. So like, I will spend the money to keep expanding that thing, but I'm not going to get rid of that thing. So
that's how I am with the frigate. Like I got that Normandy frigate.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
that thing is always in my fleet.
Yeah, my line.
I don't
yeah,
care.
like,
I don't care if it's underclassed or not.
Yeah,
like
the
it's
Normandy
there.
SR2 is gonna be with me forever. Like
Yeah.
that's just how it goes. Yeah. So everything seems cool, but I'm not. I'm trying to play other stuff so I can see No Man's Sky getting its hooks into me of just keep exploring, build another base, man. It's all good. Just try to get to the Galaxy Center again on your permadeath. It's like, no, stop it. Stop it. I'm going to uninstall you in 2 seconds. You don't stop it.
All you have to do is just get to your ship and survive, and then you can just portal to somebody else who has a base next to the center of the galaxy.
That's the cheater's way. Come on.
It is the cheater's way.
I'm gonna do
but
it
my
legit.
God, doing it legit was so hard.
I'm like halfway there. And
it really was, dude.
I keep thinking like I'm like halfway to the Galaxy Center on my permadeath save, and I keep thinking I could just go back in there, but like you have to commit to it.
Yeah.
Because on permadeath, like tripping off of a small hill just kills you. Like,
that's the thing.
It's
like I was so committed to it, and there were so many times I almost died that I was like, okay, I need to save and I need to stop for right now.
Yeah. Someday.
Especially with Sentinels. When I tried to do it again the second time, that was when they added that Sentinels could follow you into space.
Yep, I don't like that.
And I didn't realize that. Like, luckily, I'd already had the trophy, so I didn't care. But I didn't realize that. I was like, oh, I'll just fly off. And the next thing I know, there's like a battleship battalion following
like,
me. I'm
you
like,
messed
no!
Yeah. Yeah, so No Man's Sky, still really great. I still really love it. Next game here that I'm unfortunately not going to be talking about is PowerWash Simulator. I thought, boy, I'm really burnt out on a lot of the games I'm playing right now. I could really go for some PowerWash Simulator. I'm going to patch this bad boy right up, because I don't know the last time I fired it up. Downloaded the new, like, free summer pack or whatever. I downloaded the new Muckingham Files Part 4. I bought the Warhammer 40k DLC, because why wouldn't you? I saw they just released a Alice in Wonderland DLC, and I was like, well, I'm fine without that for right now. I'll get to that someday. And then I went to fire up the game, and it doesn't work. On PS5, it doesn't work anymore. There's an infinite loading screen when the game starts. And I was like, that seems weird. Okay, let me close this out, check for some patches. Let me fire it back up, reset the old PS5. Maybe there's some gremlins in there. No big deal. Nope. Doesn't work. As of a month ago.
What?
The developers have known about the PS5 version not working at all as of a month ago, and they're like, yeah, we're working on it. It's like, yeah, hi. I'm not usually upset about it, but what's going on here? And they're like, oh, you can fire up the PS4 version and start a new save file. It's like, no, not an option. And they're like, oh, you can also delete your save file, and starting a fresh one gets around this issue. And I was like, no, I have 100% completed this game. What? No. What? So grumpy because is the exact opposite experience I wanted from PowerWash Simulator, which is very much not this experience. I was just like, yeah, man, PowerWash Simulator is always there for you. You can just get back in here and PowerWash some stuff. So pretty bummed about that. I'm not sure when that's gonna get fixed, but I would like to play that really ridiculous Warhammer DLC that I also paid for because I apparently wrongly assumed this game would still continue to be working.
Playable.
Yeah, so a bit of a bummer.
Seems like it shouldn't be viable since it's not working.
Right.
I have good news for you, Boston.
Yeah.
All you need is 1 million signatures.
That's I'm going to hit change.org. Make PowerWash Simulator playable again. Yeah. So, bummer. I was wishing I've been really struggling for what to play because I haven't been I've been enjoying my JRPGs from the mid to late 80s a lot lately. But when I have time, like those are kind of a bigger time investment. I was looking for something that's like, I need that. You know, sometimes we get games on We Roguelike It where it's like runs are 20 minutes. It's like perfect. I have 20 minutes I can spend to do something that fits that time frame pretty perfectly. Go see our episodes for We Roguelike It right now, and the game time I've needed to do for our game club game right now has been on the longer end. So I thought, man, PowerWash Simulator is great. You just pop into it for however long you want. You save the game. It saves exactly the level you were playing, and you're done. You're in and out. You're great.
Yep.
It's a bummer. So
Yep.
Tune in the future for when they hopefully eventually fix it. We'll see. Last game here this week, Dragon Quest IV. Real quick update here. I've finished chapter 2. That's Elena's chapter, who's the like tomboy princess of a very clearly Russian country. The translation in this chapter was really rough. There has to be a better way to make it clear that your characters have kind of an Eastern European accent than for them to just get all the words wrong and like drop words. Like there's got to be a better way of you doing that than what came out in this chapter. I feel like more so than the first chapter, this is the chapter where party chat being, me patching party chat in this game really made a lot of sense, because in the first chapter, your character Ragnar didn't say anything in party chat. It was really just Healy, the heel slime. This one, though, all 3 of your party members, including the character you're playing as, are all talking to each other the entirety of the time. And if I didn't have that stuff, there really wouldn't be a lot of text in this game overall. And it would be a lot harder to figure out, like, hey, point A to point B, we're moving from this place to this place. And not only are we going to this place, here's the reason why we're going to this place. So it's a pretty huge omission for the DS version and not have this. I even hearing people say it's like 50 to 60% of the script. That sounds pretty big, but as you get into it, it's even bigger than just kind of a line count in the game overall. So this chapter was pretty good. It was interesting to see that, I think I talked about it last week, that Healy in the first chapter, you couldn't control them. They're really, like, that was just really a tutorial for how to play a JRPG. So it's basically, this character is going to heal your character and make sure they don't die. And in this chapter, all 3 of your characters are controllable, which I was kind of surprised by, because some of the Dragon Quest games have flip-flopped about whether or not party members are controllable like that. But so far, this game is really great. I was kind of surprised that Chapter 2 ended on what seemed like a fairly big cliffhanger. Like, you go through all this stuff, you're traveling the world, you go win this tournament that you compete in, you get to be like the strongest in the land, and you go back to the kingdom and everybody is missing in the kingdom, and you wander around the castle for a while, and you basically leave the castle map, and they're like, Elena and her companions were back out on their travels. End of chapter 2. And I was like, wait, sorry, what happened? what happened to the kingdom? So that was kind of interesting. I'm assuming that once you get to chapter 5, I think it is, where all of the party members and the hero all come together. I'm sure all that stuff will get resolved, but I thought that was kind of interesting. But I stopped at that point and I didn't start chapter 3, because chapter 3 is the chapter that I'm really looking forward to, with the shopkeeper, where you're kind of doing the trading across the kingdom to try and open and run your own shop. Everybody says that that's the strongest chapter in this game, and that's the one that I think sounds the most interesting, because it's not your standard JRPG stuff. So I'm hoping to hop into that this week. But Dragon Quest IV continues to be great. I love it. I love Dragon Quest games. Yay, Blue Sky stuff. Hooray. But that's all I'm playing this week. Let's take a break. Okay, I am going to take a quick bio break. I'll be right back.
Okay. I have a cat passed out on my lap right now.
Cool.
Like, I wish I was kidding.
She just misses you.
Oh, yeah, she's going to be in Sherlock next week.
Yep. That's why mine's down here. Every night when I'm in here watching something or doing something, one of my cats will come up and try to get in my lap. It's like, all right, fine, you can lay there. But then she'll move back and forth between each leg, and then she'll finally lay down.
Oh, that's the problem I have, is I'm sitting with my legs crossed in the figure 4 like layout, and my left knee and thigh is throbbing with pain right now.
Yep. You'll just have to unhook it.
I'm trying not to get claws in the legs.
It's also why, too, I wear a blanket on my lap whenever I'm going to have one of my cats sleep.
So, on the couch over there, which is where I play my video games, I've got a couch, my TV, everything is set up down here. So on the couch over there, I have 3 blankets. Like, one of them is for me, and I always put her over when I'm over there, because I will inevitably, fuck you for yawning, get
You've been yawning this entire time. Shut up.
I know, because I'm fucking exhausted, dude. But I will inevitably get a Louise appearance, and she always does the nook, like right between my knees.
Yeah.
And like does the stretch out thing. And whenever she does that, it's just like, well, pain is approaching, so I need to prepare myself for this.
Yo.
Hi, Louise.
Oh man.
Yes, hello. I know you're so happy. You're also a big old bitch. Oh, dude. Check out this bad boy.
What is? Oh, a praying mantis?
Yep.
You find it outside?
Yeah, that's on my recycling tote.
Oh wow.
I was like, fuck. Because I like went to put something in it, and I was like, wait, what's that brown thing on my tote? What's that brown thing? It turns out it is a badass motherfucker who just wants to eat his bugs.
Oh, yeah. Dang. A praying mantis.
But he was a big boy, too. So I was like, well, fuck. I'm just going to leave him alone until he moves.
They get pretty big here in Michigan, too, which I was actually surprised, because I first saw them here when I was in middle school was when I moved here and had seen them. And I was like, I didn't even know that they lived in like this climate,
right?
You know.
Wow.
But yeah, some of them got fucking massive.
Dang. All right, you guys ready to do this next part?
Sure.
All right, let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk releases for the week of August 5th, 2024. Pepper Grinder comes out PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Series consoles. You've probably seen this game around already, largely in GIF form, but also people seemed to really, really love this game this year. And I'm really happy it's because it was only on PC and Switch before. People seem to really like this. I really want to play this game very badly. If you haven't seen this, it's almost like a swimming platforming game, but you're using a drill to kind of dig and maneuver through the dirt and kind of propel yourself from one patch to another. It looks really cool. Everybody that I have seen and followed that has played it really, really, really liked it. And it's published by Devolver Digital, so you kind of have an idea of whether or not you're going to like that already at this point. Next game here, Volgar the Viking 2, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series Console, Switch, and PC. I never played this first one because I thought it was way too difficult and brutal and demanding.
Hey, Boston.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. So, seems like they're kind of doubling down on that in this one, of just like, hey man, we didn't make it easier. It's still Volgar.
I'm looking forward to the Breaking Brad.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Man, that was one of the all-time Breaking Brads of just, this is a human that is struggling with this video game on like a spiritual level, but it will not beat him. So I'm very surprised they're making a second one. I think that first one actually did really well over time, but I wasn't really aware of that. So cool to see that they're making another one of these. So that's coming out this week. Creatures of Ava, I don't know, AVA, comes out on Series Consoles and PC this week. That is Game Pass day and date. This is an interesting looking kind of exploration, action game where you're befriending and saving creatures. In this description, they call it a exciting action-adventure creature saver game. So, looks like you're befriending...
Both you and the game just used a hodgepodge of words that mean nothing.
I know, but the animals are cute, and you're saving them and making friends.
Welcome to marketing. Yeah.
That's right. But it looks like one of those kind of third-person action-adventure games where you have a bunch of cute alien monsters that you're making friends with. This looks cool stylistically. I think it looks really neat. I'm kind of curious to see how this goes. It's nice to see this coming out on Game Pass because this feels like a really great, like, I'm just going to try that because it's on Game Pass sort of game. So it's Creatures of Ava. Next up, Cat Quest 3. Game I'm personally looking forward to. Comes out on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series Consoles, Switch, and PC. This is pretty similar to the last two games, except this time you get a boat and you're a pirate. So, seems like there isn't really a ton that's significantly different from the first two. It seems like the dungeons in this game might be 2D side-scrolling, as opposed to kind of an isometric thing from the first game. So curious to see how that's going to go. That might be a pretty interesting change, but I kind of can't tell. So I'll probably buy this at some point because I really liked the first two. I didn't finish the second one because this one was going to come out pretty soon. But Cat Quest 3 looks cool. Also has local co-op, which is cool. I appreciate that in these games. So
don't say that.
Hey, we got to have these kind of fun blue sky games with some local co-op, which I think is cool. Last game we have here, SteamWorld Heist 2. PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series Consoles, Switch, and PC. I feel like the SteamWorld Heist games are the ones that I know the least about here, because I played Dig, and we played World?
Yeah. Build? City?
Build?
Something?
SteamWorld Build. Yeah. That game. Played that for Game Club. So this is the one that I know the least about, but people seem to also really like this. There's like almost a 2D side-scrolling kind of XCOM thing with units and kind of like taking cover and taking turns and percentage chances to hit and stuff. Like that's that's pretty wild overall. Like,
Yeah.
that's interesting. So I think I own the first one. I need to try that at some point because I feel like I might like that, but I'm not sure. So that's coming out this week too. PS Plus August games just got announced. Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga comes out for PS4 and PS5. If you haven't played that, it's really good.
Is it Lego Star Wars?
Yeah, sorry, Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. I missed the most important word in there, but that game is really great. It's also impossibly huge, so if you're looking for something for your kids to play,
If you're looking for something for the next 9,000
Yeah,
hours.
like-
You never played the 9 movies before in a Lego game. This is the
Right.
one to do it in.
Mhm. And if you're
Did it
looking
have
to-
any DLC besides added characters?
I don't believe so.
No.
Okay, because I remember getting the season pass, and I know my son got like the Mandalorian set as well as like a bunch of other ones too.
I
But
think I think that studio is going through so many problems right now that I don't think they would be able to make DLC at the moment.
Okay.
So, because that studio is imploding because of crunch after that game. So,
Yep.
we'll see where that goes. But yeah, that game was super cool, and actually a game that I've wanted to play for a while. Ender Lilies: Quietus of the Nights comes out on PS4 as well. That's a Metroidvania, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So that's always looked really cool. But all that stuff and more coming out to your consoles. All right, let's talk about news stories this week. We got 3 bummer news stories. I'm just gonna rip off the Band-Aid at the beginning. All 3 of these stories suck, real bad.
Yep.
For a whole bunch of different reasons. First one up here. Bungie lays off over 220 employees. This is on top of the 100-something employees they laid off in November of last year. Bungie CEO Pete Parsons made the announcement. Also, at the same time, people discovered that he spent $2.4 million on classic cars in the last 18 months alone, which is not great for optics.
With car auctions.
Yeah, not great. He largely boiled these layoffs down to being overly ambitious. Following the Sony purchase, they expanded too quickly and had too many incubator projects running at the same time, which sort of stretched their entire company too thin. So,
A CEO's list, problem solved.
yeah, or like get rid of this CEO that keeps making bad decisions year over year. Like,
Yeah.
why
like
is
all
he
these
still
incubator
here?
projects?
Right, like ridiculous. So like 220 employees are just straight out laid off. A number of employees, estimated to be about 155 employees, are beginning to be migrated over to Sony Interactive Entertainment to, quote, deepen Bungie's interaction with Sony, end quote. More about that in a minute. Another number of employees, likely about 75, are going over to create a new Sony studio based on a successful incubator project that so far is unnamed. They call it an action game set in a brand new science fantasy universe. That's really the only info that we have. So
Marathon 3.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be perfect. Bungie's headcount has fallen from 1,300 to around 850. And that includes people that are working on the Destiny franchise and Marathon. That seems to be their 2 irons in the fire that they have right now. I'm not really interested in talking about, Jason Schreier. Paul Tassi has been out there about rumors and the canceled projects and all that stuff. I'm not really interested in getting into a lot of that stuff. You can go read that stuff, but most of that is hearsay. Who knows? I trust Jason Schreier at this point, but even a lot of his information is like, this maybe might have been X, Y, and Z, but like, who really knows? The only thing that seems to be coming out of this is the 2 heads of Destiny, which is Mark Noseworthy and oh my god, what's his name? I don't remember what the other guy's name is. I'm sorry, Luke Smith. Thank you. both of them were either let go as part of this because the CEO mentioned that senior leadership was also affected, or they kind of took this as an opportunity to exit. I think that's especially interesting because Mark Noseworthy was really the director of Destiny as sort of a large cohesive thing, and Luke Smith was really the head of the things that seemed to be a slam dunk, which is like all of the other media stuff. Like, Bungie, why haven't we seen like 30 Destiny books? That has done really well for Halo. Like, why are we not licensing this for an animated series? Like, why are we not licensing?
We
for
brought
this
that
stuff?
crap up in Destiny 1 when they had like all the lore was tied behind those cards that you unlocked and
Start
read.
printing books, man.
Yeah, it's like why wasn't that in the Destiny app for you to pull up to read
Right.
the grimoire, background of the Lone Star exotic weapon or whatever?
Yeah,
like
and they
you had
sell
all of this information and stuff that they did nothing with.
Right, and like they sell grimoire books now, but like you need that Halo thing of like, I want to read about the history of these characters or these famous battles or something. Like, I want a famous science
still
fiction
listening
author
to those
to go
audio
make
books.
Yeah, like you want that stuff to be done. So like that has always seemed like a slam dunk. That's bonkers that it hasn't happened over the last 10 years. So
I mean,
write a book about the Golden Age.
yeah,
Because
exactly.
you have like all this cool crap that got made before the fall, but it's like there's barely any information out there about what was the Golden Age. What made it so great.
Exactly.
Like they can't really write a story about your Guardian, but they can do it about the Pillars, the Zavalas, the Saints, the everyone else in that universe. But
right.
like, at this point, it is what it is. Capital isn't going to capital, I guess.
Unionize, please.
But still, give Nintendo all the crap you want about how their online infrastructure is terrible, how their online friends list is hot garbage, how there isn't enough quote-unquote real games being ported to the Switch, whatever, however you want to do it. But at the end of the day, when times got tough, the chief of Nintendo said, "Yo, I'm taking a pay cut. So is everybody else in the C-suite because we need our people to stay."
Exactly. That's how you get like a Zelda game coming out that revitalizes the genre, and then a brand new one coming out 2 years later. Like that's the institutional knowledge you keep, and like
2 different kinds of Mario games within 4 years of each other, both considered classics.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think this is really concerning for a number of reasons, because I feel really badly for the devs that are still working at Bungie, because now it seems like the real weight of the company is behind Destiny 2, which just finished its kind of 10-year big saga, and looking at the future is just a field of question marks about what the game is going to do. And then you have Marathon, which hasn't seen any gameplay, has just seen one CG trailer that's kind of setting the style for the game. And all the stuff that's coming out from people that have played it is sort of like, yeah, it's fine, but like, do we need one of these games? So,
yeah, isn't Marathon their attempt to do a squad-based shooter thing?
It's
as
an
well?
extraction shooter. So it's like Tarkov. So like, which Tarkov does really well, and almost all the other ones don't. Like, because if you're playing
Tarkov just shot itself in the foot recently as well.
I mean, they can't stop shooting themselves in the foot. It's pretty incredible. But I think the other thing that I'm concerned too is this seems, especially with the tighter integration into Sony, this seems like we're approaching that level very quickly of Sony just being like, hi, this is my company now. Like, we've given you however many tries this is to get it right, and you guys keep stumbling over your own 2 feet with this winning game that you can read between the lines with a lot of what the developers that got let go of the problems are in the senior management and the C-suite. Like, we want to make the decisions that the players want and kind of foster Destiny as a long-time franchise. But the C-suite isn't really interested in doing that.
Yeah.
It seems to me like, we look at, what was it, a year or two ago when Sony was like, all right, you guys missed financial projections by 45%. You don't really have any other chances left. So Final Shape really needs to do it, or we're taking control of this whole thing. And I feel like this is the first step on Sony just saying, okay, Bungie and all of this stuff, that's just our company now. Like,
and I'm glad you brought that up too, because I actually completely forgot that in regards to Bungie, Sony's been hands off with them, but there's been a lot of reports of Sony laying off Bungie employees, not Bungie laying off some, Bungie employees.
Right.
So it's kind of, I don't know why. Maybe it's because everyone's just assuming it's coming from Sony that this needs to happen now.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's also a little concerning too that, Sony was pretty honest about, hey, we're buying Bungie because we want to make more live service stuff, and Destiny figured out how to do that. Like, they have managed to figure out how to foster and keep a pretty dedicated player base. Sony's not making live service games now. They've either moved away from live service plans for a lot of stuff they've announced, or they've just canceled a lot of their stuff. And like, a lot of companies, unless you're Square Enix because they have brainworms, like, you're really not making live service games at all. And I feel like the success of Helldivers 2 sort of helped put another nail in that coffin of like, you can use this framework, but players are tired of FOMO, and they're tired of being nickeled and dimed, and they're tired of, all right, you want to get into Destiny, here's the 15 expansion packs that all cost $30, and then here's $10 here and $20 there, and oh, you want to play these? Here's 15 more bucks. Like, people, they're not playing the game because, I mean, there's a lot of reasons for that, but that's a big reason of like, all right, I want to get into it. All right, here's $250 you need to spend. No. Like,
then here's a whole bunch of new systems that you need to learn, and everything that you knew beforehand from the last time you played doesn't apply anymore.
And there's no tutorials, so better have a friend that's still playing it. Also, your friends aren't playing it. So like, it's just, it's a concerning time for Bungie, as like one of the more storied kind of American developers here of genuinely beloved franchises. Like, everybody's going to call out Halo. I've always loved Myth. Always loved Marathon. They also made Oni. They've made a ton of stuff here, and you don't want to see a company like this go away, but like, you gotta get rid of your CEO, man. Like, I'm never the one to champion just fire the person, but you can't keep making these choices and making these decisions and then spending millions of dollars on cars. Like, that's the opposite.
But you know what? That's his money. Fine, do whatever.
Sure.
You earned it.
Yeah.
However, it's not your QA tester and it's not your writers that made these decisions at the end of the day either. So
there has to be some level of accountability, and the accountability is, boy, I made some real bad decisions, and I had to lay off a lot of people and ruin their livelihoods, and I feel pretty sad about that. Anyways,
so I'm going to give myself a raise.
Yeah, I'm going to get myself a car. It's just like, bro. So I'm hoping for the best for everybody that got laid off. Hopefully that they land on their feet as quickly as possible. I hope for the best for Bungie. This isn't just me as like the Destiny guy. I just hope that these companies continue to stay open and make their stuff, and hopefully they can ease the pressure a little bit here from Bungie overall.
Yeah.
Next news story here, continuing on the sadness train. GameStop shuts down Game Informer. Friday morning came and GameStop was like, hey man, by the way, that magazine that's been around for 33 years, we're done doing that. Don't worry about that anymore. Also, we just shut down the entire website as well. and put a really
no
crummy
archives, no nothing, no links, no history, no nothing.
Just put a chat GPT message on the front of the website about something like fostering worlds or something, where it's like, bro, that's not even, what are you even talking about? And of course, as it goes now in the world, most of the Game Informer staff didn't find out until people started posting about it on Twitter, which is really, really great. So great job overall, GameStop. We don't really have any magazines left in the U.S. That's really
Edge
concerning.
Is still going, right?
Yeah, Edge is
honestly, we don't have any real journalism in the U.S. Really.
So that's my real big concern. That's what I was going to segue into is, and like I retweeted on Twitter this week, influencers are not a replacement for journalism.
No, absolutely not.
Journalism. And neither are we as content creators. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say we're journalists. We're pundits at best.
I don't know a whole lot. I just tell you guys what I like.
Yeah.
And what I don't like.
Go check out Aftermath. That's a bunch of former IGN, Kotaku people. Remap's there too.
Remap,
it feels like Remap is less journalism and more
vibes.
Yes.
Yeah, but they have that background, and when they say something, they've got the not necessarily the education, but they've got I guess the knowledge to back up the things that they are generally saying, though, too.
Patrick Klepek's Substack is really good, too. He does a lot interviews and kind of the deeper dive stuff. Like, Stephen Totillo has a website now. I don't remember. Gamefile.news, I think it is. He's doing his similar stuff over there. But
yeah, the reason I call that Aftermath is because that's literally they're still trying to do the video game journalism thing.
Right. And I'm really worried about the state of the industry when you don't have any level of professional journalism existing anymore. Like, Aftermath is probably the big site for journalism now. Kotaku is just a shell of its former self at this point, and a bunch of their articles are AI written, even though the higher ups won't admit it.
And they just shut off Kotaku Australia, right?
They did.
Kotaku
they just shut down Australia. So, which was doing really great separate work over there. I feel like people don't realize how trusted Game Informer was. Like, that was the only magazine or outlet that would let you look behind the scenes on Nintendo stuff. Like, Nintendo just doesn't give interviews anymore, and they only did it for Game Informer. And the fact that we're not only losing that in print, but we've lost the over a decade of website stuff that they had. Thankfully, the YouTube channels are still up at time of recording, but who knows how long that's going to be. For that stuff just to get swept under the rug and tossed out immediately is just really criminal. And it's just and like Moon, you said, Edge is really the only magazine we have left that's not an American company. We have,
you can import it over here, but it's super expensive.
And Edge is still really great. And they do really great work, but and there's a bunch of smaller magazines that are being put out. Lost in Cult has a really great magazine they put out pretty regularly, where they're trying to do more stuff like this. It's just the market isn't there right now, and it's not for lack of desire from people who play games. Because when a big article like this that takes months and months and months to come out, like Cecilia D'Anastasio just came out with an article where she spent 8 months looking into child predators on Roblox and what Roblox is not doing about it. That's incredible journalism. That's the sort of stuff we need. No one's willing to pay for that. That's the problem. Because it doesn't...
no corporation is willing to pay for that.
That's true. I think individual people are willing to pay for that, but that's a lot... The financial onus is pretty big for running a journalism institution like that. And it doesn't line the pockets of the shareholders, so it means that can't be, which is the bummer of where we are right now. So that's a huge loss. I don't want to say the canary is dead in the coal mine at the moment, but
no, the canary's dead, dude. It's just whether or not the people are smart enough to get out before it destroys everything.
Right. I hope that over the next months and years that we can figure out some way to keep journalism alive in America in general, but at the very least in the video game industry. Because the video game industry without the, at least the, not regulation, but the light being shown on it from journalists, it sounds pretty scary. So, yeah. Fingers crossed. Last bummer news story we have of the week here, romhacking.net is largely closing down. Ending its 20-year run, the site is going to stay in a read-only mode while still allowing downloads. The entire archive, one 11 gig zip that I'm currently downloading right now, has been uploaded to the Internet Archive, and the site maybe will stay open for new news stories to get posted to the homepage. But largely the person who's running the site just burnt out. Just saying like, hey man, I wanted to kind of hand the reins off at the end of 2023. And then I don't really want to get into it because there's a lot of he said, she said from a lot of different like, well, I'm in this Discord server and I'm in this one, and you know, the kind of level of drama that is. So there's a lot of accusations and stuff that are being thrown around right now about the state of the site and who's going to get it and who's going to hand over the reins and all that stuff. I don't want to get into, but a lot of it is just like, I'm going to run this site for a really long time. I can't afford to keep it running. I can't, you know, keep taking the time to run it. So I just really need to shut it down, which I totally understand. But like this was and is the website for everything, for improving or translating or putting new fonts in video games or any of that stuff. That's a pretty big blow for not really like game preservation, but just kind of game discovery and especially translations. Because I don't think there are any other really big websites that are allowing, like, the number of times I see the ROM hacking Twitter account just saying, like, hey, somebody translated this game into Swedish. Like, somebody translated this Game Boy Advance game into Arabic. Like, that, there's nowhere else on the internet for that stuff to live. So my only hope is that maybe someone can take that database download and maybe migrate it to another website and make that the new home. I'm not entirely sure, but that's another real bummer in a bummer of weeks that I was really trying to find positive news stories for this week to try and temper some of this stuff, and they had it's just a rough week for video games, man. So with the end of that sad news story, that means that's the end of this episode. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at tvgp.tv. Everywhere to find and follow us is on the right-hand side of the page, including all the list of our links at campsite.bio/E1M1. You can... Oh, another quick plug here for patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones and numbers.
Get all the cool stuff we talked about at the beginning of the episode here. $5 a month. That's the recommended tier. If you can't support us financially, totally understand. Go like, comment, subscribe over on the YouTube channel. Again, everything that hits the public feed gets a video version over there as well. Musim and I forgot to plug this at the top because I am who I am. Musim and I recorded a new episode of Picking Up the Pixels RPG Love yesterday. There'll be a video version of that, even though we didn't live stream that. We Roguelike It, Critical Misses, all that stuff gets a video version over there. That helps us by supporting that page. And if you can rate and review our podcast wherever you listen to, if that's a possibility, that stuff really does help overall. I think that's it. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. We'll see you all next week. Bye.
Oi.
Bye.
All right, Nimp. What are your titles?
I've got 3 this week.
Okay.
Mine's for Orphans.
Yeah.
All you need is 1,000,000 signatures.
Mm-hmm.
And make PowerWash Simulator playable.
Moon, what do you have?
Camper Made of People, Landmines for Orphans, You Are So Particular, and All You Need is 1,000,000 signatures.
I have Mission 8 is the stuff. The Kids Needed Landmines, and Mines for Orphans.
I mean, Mines for Orphans, it has to be, right?
It's got to be, yeah.
Yeah.
That's just... It's one of those titles, as soon as it comes out of someone's mouth, you're like, that's the title for this week. Come on.
I have a thing.
Dang.
Me too.
Dang. All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 876 for August 5th, 2024. Mines for Orphans.
Laying, not cleaning.
For 25 cents a day, you too can help an orphan sleep at night.
All right, thank you very much, everyone, for listening and watching. We do greatly appreciate it. We hope we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.